Hi, and welcome back to The Good, the Bad, and the Anxious. My name is Rebecca, and I am here to document my journey to bariatric surgery and beyond. I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy on January 16th, 2021 at Blossom Bariatrics in Las Vegas. My stats are down below in the description if you're interested, along with some interesting links and my Instagram link, which has a bunch of photos of the kinds of things that I eat and whatnot. So today I am exactly 1 month, 4 weeks post-op. And before I get into the subject of today's video, which is head hunger versus real hunger, I figure I'll just give you a little bit of an update. So today I stepped on the scale and it said 332.6, which is only a 1.8 pound loss for this last week, which is a little bit disappointing after having a 1.6 pound gain last week. But I mean, ultimately, it's a total of 18 pounds lost since surgery, which is pretty good for a month. And I've lost 47 pounds total since my highest weight of 380. And I can just like taste the 50 pounds. It's like just out of my reach. And I'm really hoping that by next week I will be there at 50 pounds lost total. So, and this last week has been pretty rough, actually. Seeing my weight stall last Saturday has messed with my head. I basically have questioned everything that I have put in my mouth. I've questioned every action that I've taken since last Saturday. I've spent this entire week just like utterly terrified that I ruined everything, that I'm failing, that I'm eating too much, that I'm eating too little, that I'm not exercising enough, or whatever. And I have this pretty intense fear that I'm going to fail and I'm going to ruin my one shot at losing this weight, because that's what this is. This is my one shot. And I want to take advantage of it. So, I mean, it hasn't been easy. And I know that a lot of like what I've been dealing with this week is just kind of my own fear and insecurity coming out in particularly negative self-talk, which is something that I've struggled with probably my whole life, is negative self-talk. So I'm trying to cling to like non-scale victories as much as I can to get me through and keep me moving forward. And I'm just trying to do my best every single day to trust the process and know that like I'm gonna get there and that I'm not gonna fail. So it's not the easy way out. Surgery is certainly not the easy way out, and I wouldn't wish this kind of like anxiety and fear on anybody. It's very different than the anxiety and fear I felt before surgery. Before surgery, I was very, very anxious all the time about dying from being overweight. And now I'm not anxious about dying. I'm anxious about failing. So yeah, it's been a rough week. And I'm glad that the scale is going down again. I'm really hoping that, it goes down some more, and maybe a little bit faster, but ultimately, I am still transitioning into soft foods and, and adding more different variety of foods to my diet. And it's also been pouring rain in Oregon this week, and it's been freezing cold, so activity's kind of been a little bit more limited than normal, but I'm hoping that once I hit 6 weeks out, I'll get to really start to exercise and I'll start to feel a little bit better. So now let's get into what this video today is about, which is the difference between head hunger and real hunger. So it is something that I've actually been struggling with pretty big time since surgery. It's something I've struggled with actually my whole life, but since surgery, it's become much more obvious, the difference between the two. And so I don't want to say that makes it easier, but it definitely makes it like, you're like, oh, okay, this is the difference. So let me tell you, just kind of give you a little breakdown. So real hunger is something that comes on gradually. It's not a quick thing. You know, your stomach and body often gives you warning signs that you're hungry. It grumbles, it aches, it growls. You know, it's telling you like, hey, your stomach's empty, you should probably fill it. But hunger comes in waves, and it starts slow and it builds, and you can often, you know, it'll go away if you wait long enough. It's not something that is immediate. It's just like poking at you like, hey, we need to eat. And often if you drink some water and you wait, like it'll go away and it comes back later. Hunger also doesn't have cravings. Hunger doesn't care what you eat. Hunger just wants you to fuel your body. And it basically only requires enough food to be satisfied. So often you don't overeat when you're just hungry, if you're paying attention to just hunger. And it's also driven by hormones in your body and not connected to any emotions or feelings. So that's real hunger. Now, head hunger comes on suddenly, often a very specific craving for a very specific food. It's all about immediate gratification, and you know, it craves that immediate gratification very loudly, and it's in your head. And often when these feelings and head hunger leads to overeating, and then also leads to feeling guilty afterwards. You often crave unhealthy things. You crave carbs, you crave sugar. And head hunger is also often associated with stress, anger, sadness, joy, some sort of feeling or emotion. Okay, so that's the difference. Immediately following surgery, you rarely feel physical hunger. And I'm not saying that's true for everybody, it's just rare. Hunger is primarily caused by the hormone ghrelin, if I'm saying that correctly, which is produced in your stomach. So your esophagus comes down, and then your stomach, so this is your esophagus, and this is your stomach, and it kind of goes like this. And I realize this is probably the opposite, or maybe correct for you guys, but whatever. Point is, this part of your stomach, the part that goes up and around, the part of the bean, where's buried in this stomach? Let's see. All right. This will make this easy. The hunger hormone is produced in this section of the stomach, okay? So when they chop it out, because they chop out the pink section and just leave you with this like purpley section, when they chop it out, they take away the majority of your hunger hormone, ghrelin, and it takes 6 months to a year to grow back. Like, there's still the receptors in there. It just takes a while to grow back. It doesn't go away forever. It's just for a while, you don't feel as much hunger. So you don't feel as much hunger. I occasionally do. I think I've felt like real hunger a handful of times since surgery. For the most part, it's just acid moving around and grumbling in my stomach. So I can now go way longer than I used to without eating, which is not healthy. Don't do that. Eat your meals on a schedule. And I do occasionally, if I'm really distracted, have to remind myself to eat. And yeah, so it's different. It's definitely a different feeling than I've ever felt before. I do, however, struggle on the daily with head hunger, okay? If my coworker walks in and he's got carne asada fries and that's what I'm smelling, oh my gosh, I want carne asada fries so bad. If my husband cooks pizza or fries or whatever it is, garlic bread, oh my gosh, then I crave it. I crave it so bad. Sometimes I see a picture of something online that I love or it looks really good and I crave it. Or if I drive past a place that I used to stop and eat at all the time, I think of the food that was there and oh my God, all of a sudden I'm starving and I need that food. But honestly, the thing that kind of works the best, I don't want to say the best, but yeah, the best in terms of kind of combating that is making sure that I'm eating regularly and I'm eating on a schedule and that my stomach never really gets the chance to be completely full or completely empty. Because if my stomach is completely empty and my acid is talking, and then I have, something that triggers a craving, it triggers the head hunger, like that is when it is so hard to overcome that head hunger. But if I'm full and I've recently eaten and I don't feel like I don't feel like I could fit anything else in my stomach, then it's a lot easier to overcome, say no, and avoid all of those cravings. So yeah, that's another reason why it's good to eat your meals on a schedule, and don't be like Rebecca and let your blood sugar drop and feel awful. So I also sometimes struggle with knowing what full is. I've spent my whole life not listening to my body. I have spent my whole life mistrusting its signals, blatantly ignoring its signals, and eating until I'm so full that I could puke. So I feel like since the surgery, like I'm a newborn. I'm just kind of discovering my body and discovering like what it does. And I have to pay really close attention, because one bite too much and you feel pretty awful. I have not puked. I've not overeaten to the point of puking yet, which I'm really grateful for, but it doesn't negate the fact that I definitely have had one bite too many a couple times and felt not so great. So sometimes I wonder, am I full right now? Is this what full feels like, or is this what satisfied feels like? And I'm learning that when I start to question it, that's when I have to stop, because what has happened in the past is I've questioned, am I full? And then I take another bite, and that's like one bite too many. So as soon as I start to question whether I'm full, that's when I stop. And it's still a struggle. I'm still working on it, but that's when my body is telling me like, yeah, we're satisfied right now. We don't need any more. So it's definitely a struggle to know like when to stop eating. What's the difference between satisfied and full? I don't know what that is yet, because they're different things. And I feel like I'm trying and mostly failing to eat till only satisfied, but often I end up eating until I'm full, or maybe a little bit over full. So it's definitely a challenge. It's a very steep learning curve. And you have to learn to slow down while eating and give your stomach and your brain a chance to like connect and tell you that you're full. So that's been a struggle, and that's a big struggle with the difference between head hunger and real hunger, is because you just don't know what your body's doing, and it's very confusing. Also, another thing that has been a struggle in terms of head hunger, real hunger, all of this is I've been struggling with depression, especially the last probably 2 or 3 weeks. The first week, not so much. It wasn't as bad, but since then it's gotten worse a little bit. I feel sadness and depression in general right now, but I just want to clarify something, that there are no regrets. I have no regrets doing this surgery. Even on my worst days, even when I was in the ER, it didn't matter. I didn't regret it, because this is, like I said before, my one chance to lose the weight. And without this, the scale never would have gone down. I never would have lost as much as I already have. So I have no regrets about it, but there's some depression specifically around food. Food was my addiction. I ran to it every time. I used it to make me happy. I used it to make me feel comforted. I used it to cure boredom. I ran to it for every single occasion ever. And now I can only eat a few bites and then I'm full. So it's almost like it doesn't matter what you eat, because you eat a few bites and then you're full. There's a lot of food apathy going on, which I think I have mentioned in previous videos before. Before surgery, I had some food apathy and kind of feeling it again. And frankly, it's taken all of the joy out of eating. And so I feel like struggling with that, and struggling with depression that goes along with that, of the removal of your primary coping skill, is natural and normal. So how do we combat head hunger? We wait, we drink water, we have a protein shake or a snack, something that's healthy. We leave the room. That's a good one for my coworkers and me. And we distract ourselves. We go on a walk, and we see a therapist and we talk about it. If you find yourself craving sugary carbs or, you know, carb-filled things at the end of a stressful day, which is really common for me, then you've probably been using food as a way to cope with your stress, or as a stress relief. So now you have to find a new way to de-stress. And for me, walks have actually been super helpful. I like walking with my husband. I like walking with my husband and my dogs, but I do have to say that walking by myself, giving me a chance to just like think about my day, think about what I'm going through. Think about, why am I doing this? Like every step I'm thinking, like, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this to prolong your life. You're doing this to like fucking live the life that you've wanted to live for over a decade, and you've just been depriving yourself of that. I love walks. I'm learning that they're going to be, I think, going forward, my like primary coping mechanism for everything. And you know, when I was working out regularly, exercise just in general was a huge coping skill for me in terms of depression, and dealing with stress. So you have to find a new coping skill, because food is not your coping skill anymore. And also, if you still find yourself, you know, craving foods and anxious and depressed and all those good things, I think seeing a therapist is important. I think seeing a therapist is the key to long-term success with this surgery. If you tackle the root of the problem, and then find an alternate coping skill, like that's what's going to get you through it, especially when the head hunger is screaming and it won't shut up. So finally, I just want to say it's perfectly okay to feel real hunger after surgery. Again, it's not every single person doesn't feel hunger. You miraculously are never hungry. It's just, it's rare to feel hungry, but it's also normal. It's perfectly okay to struggle with the head hunger, like I've said. It's okay to feel depressed and anxious after losing your coping skill. And they're all normal, natural things to feel. But just remember, it passes. Emotions and feelings, they aren't forever. They don't last forever. I know that when you're in the middle of it and you're in the depths of it, it feels like it's never going to end, but I promise you it does. It does get better. And the cravings also don't last forever. You just have to get past them. And then if you find yourself struggling to learn to listen to your body, like I am having a little bit of a struggle, you know, seeking out a dietitian, talking to your therapist, and also learning about something called intuitive eating, which I may do a video on in future. I actually have written some notes on that for another video at some point. But I'll link some information down below about what intuitive eating is. I think that's more a skill that I'll be focusing on once I hit maintenance weight. But either way, it's all about listening to your body. So that's really what this surgery has been teaching me big time. So that's it for today. I have no idea what my next video is going to be about. It might be just my 6-week checkup in another couple weeks. It might be about something else. I don't know. But I will do another video. I just need to kind of get my thoughts in order and figure out what's going to be the best next thing to talk about. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you want to keep following my journey. So take care, and I'll see you next time.